Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Spark Faith podcast. I am Dr. Chris Sargent, and I am super excited about what we're going to talk about today. I'm always excited to be here. I know I say that every time. Today, I want to begin unraveling all the shame and guilt that goes along with self-sabotage and self-sabotaging behavior, and just the shame and guilt that goes around health and getting healthy and some of the beauty stuff. We're going to start unraveling some of that. It's probably going to be a multi-part series, at least 2 parts for sure. I don't want to get through all of it. It's too much to handle all in one sitting. So I want to start at the beginning. What are some of the shame and guilt triggers that push you overboard into self-sabotaging behavior? Now, before we get too far down the road with all this, this may be a piece of growth for you. You get to grow through this. So if you're not sure what trips your trigger, so that all of a sudden you're shopping when you don't need to, or you're watching Netflix when you know you should be doing something else, or you dive into the pantry head first. I would dive into a giant bowl of popcorn with Parmesan cheese and olive oil and some cracked pepper. Anyhow, we all have our thing. So what precedes that? And when you can grab a hold of the emotion and energy or event or thought process that tips you into the self-sabotaging behavior, that's going to be a giant win for you. And just knowing that you need to start looking is an even bigger win if you haven't gotten there yet. So let's start at the beginning, and that is really understanding this flow of thought precedes emotion, which goes into motion as action. So thoughts precede everything. They pop up, they well up as a thought that may instantly be converted to some sort of emotion. And a lot of times it's fear, it's anger, it's frustration, it can be negative. It can be just this negative emotion. I hear a lot of the I deserve or I worked hard, those kind of things. And those all may be true. However, if the behavior is then self-sabotaging, how is that a reward, right? So thoughts precede emotions, which precede actions. That's really good news. Again, it may feel like it's just this giant feeling that wells up. And I want to encourage you that it can be thoughts that well up in all of this, right? The Bible says that we have to grab our thoughts, contain those thoughts. We have to grab a hold of those thoughts because those can start ruling us, and they may be lies, right? So when we get into the lies of comparison, we get into the lies of not good enough, not enough, all of those pieces and parts, and we're going to explode on some of those things because there's a lot that goes into that. But when we start down those roads or start that feeling of not good enough feeling, there's a thought that happened or an event that took place that created a thought that created the emotion that created your action, right? So I really wanted to help us walk down the path slowly so that you can be in the same space as me and that we can just talk our way through the actual trigger. Can you control your emotions? So this is a big this is a big thing. My daughter and I go back and forth on this a lot. And emotions can be contained. This is what emotional intelligence is all about, right? It takes a bit of time. Emotions will flow through your system in about 90 seconds. So when you feel it, if you can sit in it and allow yourself to feel it, in about 90 seconds, you will come up for air and go, oh, wow, I can name it. Now, you need to know that this comes out of my own experience. I was raised not to feel a lot of sad and disappointed. And many of you know the sad and disappointed story. Those who don't know sad and disappointed, my sad and disappointed story, I was having a verbal tete-a-tete, nicely, with my then 15-year-old daughter, who's now 19. And she looked me square in the eye, and we might have been loudly discussing. Okay, we were yelling. And she looked at me and said, in no uncertain terms, Mom, sad and disappointed are normal human emotions. You're a doctor. You of all people should know that. And I'm going to tell you that there were some not so great words put in between all that. So I was kind of blown back and I had tears streaming down my face. And I said, you're right. And that was obviously 3 or 4 years ago. And it sent me on a journey to discover why sad and disappointed weren't okay for me and why it was so uncomfortable to feel that. And so when we can really dig in and start understanding the thoughts that come along with some of those things, then we can really start to master our emotional intelligence. And so today I'm going to leave you there. I know it feels like I'm going to leave you hanging a little bit, and we're going to keep going. I'm going to walk you through the cycle. The first thing is these negative emotions pop up, right? Sad and disappointed, fear, anger, blah, blah, blah. You go into some sort of self-sabotaging behavior, and then you feel guilty, right? Which then can move into shame. So guilt is, I did something not great, right? I made a poor choice. Shame is, I am a poor choice. I am bad. And depending on how deep some of our own wounds are, will determine how far and how fast that happens, right? But then that takes you right back to, I'm not good enough, right? So it just becomes this spiral that gets out of control. And I am here to help you shut that down. So I want to start by just start discovering some of your own triggers and some of your own thoughts and some of your own emotional connections to some of the self-sabotaging behaviors. All right, so that's a lot of homework, and I will see you on the other side. Love y'all. Bye.